This is a historic little
What do you want?
event. Oh, right in front of here.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Like being Florida. He always looks better than me. No.
We already have a guy who crawls on walls and spins webs. We already have a guy who's the god of thunder and a fellow who's got green skin and he breaks through buildings up and so forth. But since some viewers might not speak fluent Skrull, we'll use our mighty Marvel language converter. As a matter of fact, our sales have tripled in the past 3 years, which is quite a publishing phenomenon.
Slower, but still got 7.
No, you promised we were going to take this very serious.
Oh, hey, come on, I love this stuff for my youth.
I mean, my...
Spidey's 30th birthday. What do you get Spider-Man for 30?
Them in countless horror movies they usually referred to as the dead who walk. Now, what can they possibly have to do with Tony Stark or his armored alter ego, the invincible Iron Man?
I have a good feeling about it. Yeah. Peter's the guy building it. I just follow along, you know.
What a great team. You got a great guy.
He's just terrific. I never would have done this. When my contract ended, he said, hey, Stan, now you're free. Let me build a company. If he could do it for me, imagine what he could do for you guys.
It's going to be the synergy.
200 to 300 fan letters every day, probably as much as the Beatles. I spend most of my time reading the mail and quite a lot of time answering it. During this time, I think I've learned a lot about what young people think. More importantly, I think I've learned a lot about what young people are.
Wouldn't want to change anything about me.
Gee, you're definitely not the same guy I've been writing about all these years. My guest is somebody who is not only an old friend and associate, but one of the genuine talented movers and shakers of our business, Roy Thomas. So I figured, okay, if we have to do a team, that's fine, but we're going to do it differently than anybody else does it. So instead of a lot of good guys who always won at the end and they were brilliant and they were superior to the villains and they never did anything wrong, we came up with the Fantastic Four, who inevitably did something wrong.
Paid dividends down the line. A lot of people seem to be short-sighted on a lot of things. So,
how does it feel to know that someday in the future they'll talk of you as the man who popularized three-dimensional perspective webbing? I mean, boy, that's a distinctive trait. Nobody else will have anything like that.
Since moving to work at Marvel's production center in California, Lee has acquired a home with a pool, a pair of sunglasses we never saw him take off, and a position as an elder statesman with the folks back at the Marvel offices in New York. Stan still contributes to special issues.
And then another thing you might jot down, Jim. On page 13, he had his helmet on, and Believers. I'm Stan Lee, co-author of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, and creator of Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, and a whole caboodle of other comic book characters that my legendary modesty prevents me from mentioning. Now, I'll be your host and guide as we journey together along the rambunctious road to comic book artistry, which is to say, it looks like we're stuck with each other for the next little while.
It's a great day to help people customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Well, originally I created Courageous Cat.
That was that animated.
What's harder, one, a cherry or...
But I think when I was 18, I tripped across a character called Batman.
How do you pronounce it?
B-A-T-man. It was called Batman by Robert Kane. In 1939, when I was 3 years old, Stan. That's when I created the Batman. I'm now 42 on my good days. Anyway, Batman is my claim to infamy.
Yeah, I always thought it was the cat things to think about because you always want something different. I remembered we had a character called the Human Torch who was very popular, and he was a guy. I mean, it's an everyday occurrence. He could burst in flame and fly. So it occurred to me, why not do the opposite? So that was Iceman.
Hey, true believers, I'm Stan Lee, and I want to tell you about the most fantastic sweepstakes ever. How would you like to work with me for a day as editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics? Just enter the Kmart and Marvel
Almost
Comics
time, everyone.
Here
we go.
May and June.
StanUARY Day.
Game card at participating Kmart restaurants and win one of
Ravage,
18 million discounts on Kmart food and drinks, plus 2,500 other prizes. Just watch the Marvel Action Hour and answer my questions. Details at participating Kmart restaurants.
People, and we're live. Welcome to StanUARY Day 1. This is the celebration of everything Stan Lee. And here's the crazy thing. I'm not like a crazy Stan Lee guy. I'm not. But at the end of the day, when the idea of the sketchbook challenge really started to take formation, I said to myself, like I should be mature and treat it like a assignment. And who cares, right? There's no personal beefs when it comes to assignments. So we have it right here. This is what we started yesterday. So technically, this is day 1, but this is stream 2. Yesterday we worked on the cover. We're going to do some more work on this. We're going to try and make this look as much like a legit cover as possible. Now, we're limited when it comes to materials, when it comes to the paper, like all of that stuff, because this is like a do-it-yourself comic book. And everything here is just really effing thin. It's just thin and scary. So we're going to do our best. But if you're not familiar with Ravage 2099, believe it or not, here's the funny thing. Ravage 2099 was the marquee character when this imprint came out for Marvel Comics. It was Ravage, it was Doom, Punisher, and Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man 2099 has taken a form of its own thanks to the Into the Spider-Verse movie, right? Spider-Man 2099 will be in the Spider-Man Through the Multiverse 2, I believe. But in the meantime, Ravage. Let's just draw Ravage down the memory hole already. People largely have ignored this character. So what? And part of my whole objective here is it's very simple. Okay, we're going to it's one comic book page per challenge. So we're going to have a couple opportunities here to draw Ravage. But I wanted it to also be a little bit educational, a little bit insightful, like that sort of thing. So I haven't really figured out the formula yet. A lot of times for these sketchbooks, it takes me a little bit of steam. Like I need a little bit of momentum to get it going, just to know what the overall ideas are and what the visions are. So I don't exactly know what I'm about to do. But we're going to figure it out together. That's why we all tune in here. And cheers to everyone, because we have Mr. Brown Coffee round 2 right here. Mr. Brown round 2. I bought 3 of these, so tomorrow night's going to be the 3rd one. Whoa, what is happening? Indy, what's up, dude? Haven't seen you for a little bit, right? Indy, what is happening, my boy? Dude, yeah, I was just talking, like, I don't know if you remember, Indy, but Ravage was he was in all the interviews. Like, there was a little bit of attention with Spider-Man 2099 because it was Peter David and Rick Leonardi. But the real attention was that we had, like, a new creation by Stan Lee. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get Ravage out of my system early when it comes to StanUARY. But dude, I guess the true legacy of 2099 is Doom, right? Like Doom, like 1 through issue 25, like the first 2 years of Doom, really good stuff, really lots of fun. Pat Broderick, who back in the day I did website work for, he was the illustrator for Doom 2099. So I just have to figure out, like, I don't know what my overall direction here is going to be, because Ravage does become a little bit more of a Hulk character. So maybe we'll do the Hulk character down here. And when it comes to, like, merchandise, right? Like, Ravage mostly... Did Ravage ever get... I don't think he's even had an action figure. But he's had a lot of trading cards. He was almost like a pretty solid trading card staple back in the... during that whole craze in the 90s. Back when it was Marvel Comics and Fleer. Like, that was like the 1-2 combo when it comes to all of that. Yeah, so... some of this will be like fully finished. Some of it won't. I just need a little bit more burn time to figure out exactly what the formula is for these drawings. And some of it really has to do with the paper quality. I don't know what to expect. So I can't visualize what the work's going to look like if if my paper isn't really going to hold up to everything. Yeah, so here Spider-Man 2099 was great. Mungo was the only one of time period that actually has earned the right to be called Spider-Man. Dude, Indy, solid take. I would agree with that. Now, I'll say this. Is the Spider-Man in what was the cartoon show? Spider-Man Unlimited? Was that Peter Parker? I thought that was the Peter Parker from the original 90s show that got transported into Spider-Man Unlimited through like a rocket ship. But anyway, I give Spider-Man Unlimited a lot of props because the villains of that show are so much fun, so lethal. But yeah, dude, 2099 is, and it's also like not Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2099 arguably is not Spider-Man. It's a completely different character, which I think is part of the draw of that. Because, dude, the one I think underrated take for 2099, well, two, which were like 2099 Generation 2. It was what was it? It was Ghost Rider and fantastic artwork. And I think Liam Sharp. Did Liam Sharp do Hulk 2099? Those books really held up. And I guess it fell apart because there was like a crossover, and it was like the X Nation 2099. The X books did not translate well at all in 2099. Which you think, because the X-Men were so they were future driven at that time. Like everything was Bishop and Cable, but no, they did not hold up at all in 2099. But I would definitely explore them, like especially X Nation with Humberto Ramos. So even here, like, I'm trying to get the Hulk Ravage just figured out, and I'm having trouble. But you think that with all of the attention that Stan Lee got with those cinematic cameos, that someone in Marvel editorial would have wised up and took a chance to revive this character, like even as a retcon, or introduce him into Marvel proper. Because I do feel like the timing was there for quite some time, pun intended. So, and I believe Ravage lasted 35 issues. Did Ravage last 30? Someone will have to fact check that. 35, maybe 36 issues. Yeah, well put again, dude. X-Men 2099. My biggest disappointment with X-Men 2099 is the Ron Lim artwork. I was such a big Ron Lim head back in the day. Worshipped the guy because it was Infinity Gauntlet. He came in after George Perez. I loved his style at that time more than George Perez, which is a little blasphemous. But Ron Lim has drawn the greatest of the cosmic characters. He's the greatest Thanos in comic book history, the greatest Silver Surfer. I don't care. I was so disappointed. And Ron Lim never reached that height again in my eyes. After that, he went to Wildstorm was drawing Stormwatch for a while. Like, bad fit. But the action figures, the 2099 action figures, hashtag Liddy. Those ones, so much fun, so awesome. Yeah, and we're going to do some lettering here too. So let me just try and, like, we're really going to figure out what we're doing here, comic book wise, because I don't know. This is a scary part sometimes. But this is also like the fun of creation. Like, you just kind of say fuck it. You say fuck it. You do it. Yeah, I always say, like, could you imagine if Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Eric Larson, like the Image guys, could you imagine if they were just live streaming more instead of like doing all these other things? Like back in the day, like, could you imagine Rob Liefeld on the live stream, but like, you know, just mumbling to himself about wanting to break away from Marvel Comics and form his own company? Like, you know, that's why I live stream as much as I do. What we got? We got Good Idea in the house. Yeah, start a little bit early. Good Idea. Look, I'm still battling COVID. My energy ebbs and flows. I jump on opportunities when I can. I was just kind of feeling like I should jump on. But yes, Doom. Oh, I already said Doom. Like, and Good Idea. I know you are so well versed in comics. Doom 1 through 25, right? The first 2 years of Doom 2099. That's like the real arc. That is the absolute best that those 2099 books like ever put out. And do you know, did they ever revisit Ravage 2099? I don't think they did. So I'm just looking up some Ravage info here. Like, just biographical info that I will add to the lettering here. We're just going to freeball it. Like, maybe I'll just do here you go. We'll erase that. I'm so curious of how some of the ink is going to take. And I'm already committed to this sketchbook. So if the ink doesn't take, I am essentially screwed. Because I don't have a backup as of what to do for the entire month. I will have to run to the art supply store tomorrow and hopefully just like cross my fingers and get lucky. Let's see here. First appearance. Here we go. $1992. So let's just have a little bit of a taste here. Day one. First appearance. 1992. How awesome is that? And Paul Ryan, who is one of the great Avengers artists, people. All right, so that, you know, like, that's I can kind of almost deal with that. And we just need to kind of like seal some of these off. So, like, that's a little of the biblical information I want, like, per page. Like, you know, and like I said, we're going to do some work on trying to figure out exactly what these pages look like. And side note, everyone, Ravage 2099, incredible logo. Incredible logo. I mean, look at that logo. How do you not love that? Completely love that logo. Yeah, Pat Broderick art. Yeah. We already talked. Pat Broderick, probably that was his last like great thing we saw from him. Yeah, I don't think Ravage ever came back. I only read about 3 issues. It was not good. Yeah, it ran for over 3 years. I know that. Diamond, Skull Diamond, what's up, bud? Skull Diamond, I will reach out to you tomorrow about live streaming tomorrow, FYI. All right, so what we got here? What do we have? Yeah, and what a like character transformation too, right? Like he went from almost like a Han Solo, like future loner type looking guy into like a Hulk like creature. It's a little nutty. We're going to just exaggerate. We're going to exaggerate some of his like features here. And he kind of had a little bit of a mullet in his first appearance, right? But good idea. It's funny you said like the first 3 issues, because most people think that this series only lasted, only had like a really short run. But yeah, it was just like one of those books that probably needed a little bit more time to find its legs. Lots of gear on him. You know, like his first appearance, you can kind of really see. You know, like you can kind of see a lot of what the real potential for the character was in his first appearance. Like more future world, more sci-fi. Like the counterpart might have been like tech world. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's just I'm really going day by day. I'm not scheduling things too far out. Like even today, I was 50-50 if I was even going to be able to stream today. Yeah, I know. We know. Yeah. But yes, yeah. Pat Broderick. You know, Firestorm, Captain Atom. He's got a good list behind him. Yeah, right. Yeah, 33 issues. Right? Isn't that nuts? All right, so let's have a little bit of a look here. Okay. So let's just kind of get over here. I really want to do like one test panel. That's all we need here is one test panel. So I'm using a micron number 8 now. And realistically, it may be like a little too thick. Just realistically. I mean, I'm sure that's a little tough to see. So it really... I usually only work in micron 3s and 5s. I think those multi-packs are a complete rip-off fallacy. I don't know why. Like, why would you need anything other than a micron 5 or 8? Like, you know, there's people out there pretending like they use a micron 1 or 0.5 on something. So where are we at here? Okay, microns aren't bleeding. We're in good shape. Yeah, so I think like someone say like his hairline is off. Yeah, and even with some of these the illustrations I'm looking at right here where my tablet is, straight up discrepancies when it comes to his hair. So we're just trying. I mean, maybe spending too much time here working on the forms. A little bit too much time. Yeah, and this paper too. It's like you cannot erase more than like a few times. You just can't. It doesn't allow it. Well, I would say just based on his first appearance, like Ravage looks pretty freaking cool. Like definitely a sign of the time too. But that's what you want. Like that's almost why. Like that's something I think as a publisher you would hope Stan Lee would come up with. Like a character that sells today for today, not for tomorrow. I'm almost like just mental, like just pre-visualizing this. I'm imagining a lot of it line work wise, like a European style. And his hair is almost just like, it is sci-fi. Like I'm drawing it as a feathered mullet. If you're familiar with hairdressing terms. So all right, so I think we got a little bit something here. We got panel 1. Hopefully, you guys get to see now my level of dedication for StanUARY. These tall, thin panels are the absolute worst. They really are. They're tough. It's a tough shell to crack. And I'm keeping the paper underneath, like the black paper here is mostly for smudge protection for the cover, which I really didn't want to touch before I was done, but I thought I should kind of go in order, do a little bit of a broadcast, like continuity when it comes to what the live streams were going to be. Yeah, so next time for sure too, I will have some of this stuff pre-sketched, pre-worked out. But I would say sketchbook wise, this has got to be one of my most ambitious. All right, then here we go. I normally, just out of a common practice, I hate using rulers when it comes to comic book artwork. It's a pet peeve. I don't think they're necessary. Oh crap! I'm missing one of the borders here. What the hell? How'd you guys let me miss that? And then let's do this. Because he's got red hair. We have to do a color test here also. Here we go. Let's see here. Right, that's too dark for his cloak. We're using Crayola markers because I can kind of anticipate that Crayola markers will not bleed, which is huge. There we go. And then we'll do maybe like a yellow poppy background like that. So let's see. Going in blind. I would be happy with just nailing down like one panel tonight, just so I have a lot of my questions figured out, and then I can kind of again just focus on what the bulk of the work is when it comes to the day-to-day challenge of a sketchbook challenge. Whoa, this is dried out, and this green was perfect. Oh, jeez. I should have another one. Is it right here? Yeah. All right, so this. Let's hope this one's not dried out. Perfect. There you go. All right. I mean, no bleeding. Okay. I mean, I still think we're going to have issues from time to time, but I think that is a little bit there when it comes to the paneling. A little bit excited, everyone. Look, I have to say. So, what do we have? Like, I don't even know. I'm not even sure where to go with just the general idea with some of this. Like, I kind of just want to figure out ways to show him off more than anything. But I think the world, like, that he lived in, I think his world is just so awesome and dystopian and wild. You know, like, that was the cool thing when it comes to these books. You know, like, and all features were kind of aped. Like, they were all copied. They were all somewhat disinterpretation of this utopian like world. You know, like a lot of movies, a lot of novels, a lot of role-playing games. You know, what was that one big role-playing game that was Cyberpunk? I think it was Cyberpunk. Like, really cool looking stuff. and he's like rugged too. Had like a nice like 5 o'clock shadow. Like again, like visually, like the lunar sci-fi destroyed world character that like you wanted. Just doing like another like twin shot of him. Let's see. Series lasted 33. Yeah, that's really what the idea is. Like his from what I can tell, because he did have like 3 phases. So yeah, we're going to try and just portray his different looks. Right, yes, yeah. So bizarre, so weird. Really is. Weird stuff, man. This whole book. So the idea now, like the big question now would be, who would play Ravage in a movie? Right? Like realistically, like who would be? And let's say it's a huge, like tentpole, like we're spending money on Ravage 29. How awesome would it be too that they kept that title too? That they just went like all in on it being like this wannabe future. Like, kind of like what they did for Blade Runner. Like they kept Blade Runner a 90 or like an 80s future. I will say, Paul Ryan aged this character so well. With like, if you look at the cover for issue 1, like that is an illustration, like illustrator's crash course there. Like that is some dream rendering. Well placed, like well placed shadows, well placed highlights. Got the right look type stuff. Yeah, you could do it, but let's say we had a limited money. Like, let's just say we had a ton of money. Good idea. Like Ryan Reynolds, The Rock, Jason Momoa, Dwayne Johnson. It's almost like we said The Rock at the same time. We'll leave that up. Who would play Elvis in the Elvis Files? Good ideas. Yeah, yeah. I mean, right? There's got to be like someone that's like actiony. Like, how about Scott? What's his name? Scott Adkins. He might be good because he actually has like, or what's his name? Who was the guy? He's in a movie called The Wheelman. He was Crossbones in Winter Soldier and Civil War. And he was in the second and third Purge movie. Oh, I forget that guy's name. But yeah, I think look, if they can do like a Judge Dredd movie with Stallone, that the style that they chose to do that movie in the 90s, I mean, how easy would it be to make this movie a smash freaking hit? And look, like all arguments to the side, I love Stallone Dredd. I really do. That movie, there's so much detailed. Like the story is, like I even think the story's indicative of 2000 AD. So, people always get high and mighty when it comes to like comic book adaptations. But if you read 2000 AD and then you watch Stallone Dredd, I mean, come on, there's very little overlap. Like, I mean, like there's very little not there. And you can kind of make the same argument with the Michael Bay Transformer movies. So I bought these sketchbooks retailed for about $5. I bought 2 of them purposely to test one of them. And I guess what? Like, didn't fucking test shit. So, yeah, we're all about the LOLs tonight. Hugh Jackman, that like that would be cool. That would be cool. Oh, Sebastian Stan. He might be. Yeah, I was. Frank Gallo. That's the guy I was thinking of. Frank Gallo, Sky Atkins, Sebastian Stan. Damn, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, and I'm just like trying to. This character really had. I mean, like if you just go through the covers, like insane covers, insane transformations. Like I'm looking at right here at the cover for issue 17. Dude, it is insane. Learn the sinister secret of X11. Like, I wonder if that's even like a Weapon X character. We're going to do a close-up of the robotic eye here. This also, side note, this is taking way longer, everyone. Frank Grillo, yeah. Yeah, right. Grillo is also like, was he like a real like fighter at one time? Like, he comes off as someone that can kick your ass in real life. Like, I don't know if he has a little bit of that background. What if they gave it to Jason Statham? You know, like as of a like a producer's favorite. Yeah, so, and then I guess like this one too had like a little bit of like scar tissue, right? Like, he's got like a little bit of like, people, we're an hour in and I'm not even 0.5 away from completing this page. So fuck my life. Way to fail the assignment, DeLuca. And just do it. I think this is the cover for issue 6. You know, I'm desperate if by panel 3 I'm doing a close-up of a eyeball. Like, you know, things are bad. Like, just on a creative level. No, he wouldn't, but it would just be like a recognizable name, you know, like someone that could get eyeballs, get insured, you know, kind of have a a pedigree behind him, built an audience, like all of that. I don't know. I mean, I was hoping to do one of these pages an hour. So, like I gotta go back to formula and think about my process for this. But fuck yeah, man. Drawing takes time. Shit. But the more you draw, it's like two things happen. Like you get quicker, you get more efficient for sure. Like, you kind of fill in the blanks. Like you kind of know, like there's less mystery to it. Just out from a practitioner standpoint. So you can be a little bit more efficient for sure. But then you get more ambitious. So like the more you can do, the more ambitious you are, and your time frame never goes down unless you really start looking at your clock, like your time, and develop like a style to go on top of that, like to kind of complement it. So you could maybe do a page in a few hours as opposed to one day. It gives me a little bit of cybernetic gray here, which is kind of hard to do for Crayola. Crayola really only has like 1 or 2 grays. Yeah, we'll do both. Thank you. Yeah, we'll just use some of the blue that we already have. Just as like a lens color, not a lens flare because we don't like those, but lens color. We do though. We have a journey ahead of us. Maybe we can show off some of his like scarification here. And believe it or not, like I know a lot of people thrive when it comes to profiles, but I'm not a good profile artist when it comes to headshots. Whatever. We'll do it. We'll do it. And he's got like a streak in his hair. I really would say like his first couple pages, issues, his appearance really is well done. Well, like it's striking. It's well thought out. definitely interesting. Again, like all these things you would want from a new character. Well, let's see what tomorrow. Fantastic Four. I can maybe do like one panel per Fantastic Four. Like Reed, Sue, Ben, Johnny, She-Hulk, Herbie. That's kind of cool. I think we'll do that. All right, everyone. Yeah, let me get going just so we can burn the midnight oil in other ways, but I feel like I have to rest.